Welcome to Psychology Today. I'm your host, Ann Morrow. This is a show about bicycling in general and bicycle safety specifically. Thank you for joining us. And a big thank you to our crew who makes this show possible, and Northwest Bicycle Safety Council for producing Psychology Today. Today we're going to have a panel discussion with some of our Northwest Bicycle Safety Council board members. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is the producer of Psychology Today, and throughout the past year we've had the privilege to talk with many local cyclists who are passionate about the sport. They may sell goods that help us, they may ride in ways that inspire us, including randonneering or Special Olympics, or they may know how to improve our bodies physically so riding is more enjoyable. But we here at Northwest Bicycle Safety Council are also active in the community and trying to make our little corner of the bicycling world a better place. So we want to share some of our passion with you, as well as help you understand who we are and what we do. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council has had a good year in 2013. Our president, Bruce Buffington, received the top award that is presented by the Washington County Visitors Association. And last year he received the highest award ever presented to a non-active law enforcement officer from the Beaverton Police Department for bicycle safety. Several of our bicycle safety coordinators and partners are police certified through the Beaverton Police Department. Psychology Today, through which we try to reach out to a broader spectrum of our cycling community, has been on the air for 8 years now. And our objective with this show is to teach safe riding and promote cycling in general, and to enlighten viewers by talking to many local, exciting and passionate cyclists and hearing about their creative ideas. I like to think we open up our viewers' perspective. So my guests are, to my left, I have Allison George, who is a stakeholder development manager at the Washington County Visitors Association. And to my right is Jacqueline Sinke, who's been a guest before on the show, and she's the president and founder of Fitness and Function and Home Fitness Care, and she's also our fitness expert for Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And I'm sorry, Allison is the social media coordinator for Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And our other guest is me, and I'm the vice president of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, and my name's Ann Morrow. So the three of us are going to talk about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And Jacqueline, let's start with you. I want us to introduce ourselves and tell us a little bit about your background and involvement with Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And you've been with the council longer than any of us, that's for sure. Tell us about your history.
Yes, I started about 8 years ago in the old studio on Center Street in Beaverton. And yeah, that's a long time ago. A lot of things have happened and evolved since that time. So I have been involved in the studio itself. When we went to a bigger studio, behind the camera was a camera woman or cameraman, whatever you call that, and have been a floor manager once or twice, and have appeared on the show several times as well.
Yes, because you have a lot of expertise in fitness to help us be better riders. Right. And you were the treasurer for a while of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, right?
I have been, yes. Yeah.
So thank you for helping get us this far and helping Bruce. How did you meet Bruce? How did you come to be involved with Northwest Bicycle Safety Council?
Oh, that's probably a long story. I met Bruce through a neighbor in my street who met Bruce at Starbucks near Bethany. And he mentioned that I was from Holland and was involved with fitness, and I used to ride a lot. And he hooked me up, with a meeting with Bruce, and we started talking, and Bruce asked me if I want to assist with some of the activities for the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, and I thought it sounded really nice and great, and I have been involved ever since.
Well, good. And
yeah.
That sounds like a typical how I got hooked up with Bruce story.
Yes.
And Allison, I think you're our newest board member, And so why don't you tell us kind of some of your history and how you came to be with Northwest Bicycle Safety Council?
Sure. I've been with the organization about 4 months now. It was this summer that I really started getting involved. As you mentioned in the introduction, I work for the Washington County Visitors Association, and I met Bruce. He had a vision of a scenic bikeway for Washington County, which really started by the original route for the Beaverton Banks and Beyond bicycle tour. So Bruce had the vision for a scenic bikeway and approached our organization, and so we partnered to bring that to fruition. So you mentioned that we gave him an award, and it included a superhero cape because he was really instrumental in getting that bikeway designated and being a great partner. And I really enjoyed working with him. It was really fun. And so that's how I learned about the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, and that's when I started getting involved.
Well, and we're glad to have you.
Thanks.
And I think, you know, your story, we'll talk a little bit more about the scenic bikeway, but Bruce is just so tenacious. He just not let go of something once he gets it in his mind.
And thank goodness.
Yes, because we wouldn't be sitting here today. And so I'm Ann Morrow, and I'm the Vice President right now of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And I've been pretty involved with bicycling here in the area since about 1992, when as an adult, getting back into cycling. The kids were kind of grown up, and so then I wanted to bike. My husband was interested. And I'm very involved with Portland Wheelman Touring Club. I'm just finishing up a 3-year stint as the president of that organization, and I lead a lot of bicycle rides, including 2 a month that are what I call beginner rides, and they tend to be flat rides, shorter rides, and they're group rides, so we all stay together. You don't get dropped. It's a way to learn how to ride a bicycle as an adult and learn different routes around town and find those good bakeries, and you can eat the baked goods because you rode your bike. So it's really a great situation. So I want to talk about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council's 2013 activities. We've had a successful year, and I've heard Bruce Buffington, our president, often say this year that he feels like he's blessed. And our viewers and our board, I think, are part of the reason that he's expressed that he feels like it was a blessed year. One blessing this year was that someone donated a van to Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. And when you think about all the helmets that we put on heads and our bike fairs and things, and helmets in boxes take up a lot of room. Bruce has a little pickup truck. This van is really a godsend, and it's a place to haul all those helmets. It helped us on our big bicycle ride, Beaverton Banks and Beyond. So that really was a blessing, and he was very excited to have that. And he was, too, wanting to save wear and tear on his own personal vehicle. So that worked out really well. Jacqueline, let's talk about some of the projects you've been working on this year.
This year I have worked on several of the helmet fitting events in the schools, and that's always a lot of fun because kids come to the event and don't really know what to expect. They know they're gonna get a helmet and going to get some training about how to ride safely and everything, but just to get a free helmet, that's something very exciting. So getting those helmets fitted on those little heads and have them walk away, looking proud is a fun thing to do. Yeah.
And you are involved in a lot of the bike fairs, and I have to admit I'm not so much because I live up in Vancouver. And so I kind of want to talk about, so you don't just give a kid a helmet, you make sure that it fits properly. And so you're very up close and personal with these kids and making sure that they're fitting right. And that's a pretty neat experience.
Yes, it is. The helmets, they when a child comes, the helmet, they're make sure that it's the correct size to begin with. And once they have the helmet of that size, then they come to me or one of one of us helmet fitters, and we make sure that the straps on the side are long or short enough that they fit nice and snug, that the helmet doesn't move on their head, and so that, you know, if something occurs, a fall occurs, that their head is well protected, because we want to prevent traumatic brain injuries from happening, or other injuries.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, Allison, before we had the show started, you told us a cute story about your helmet fitting. Tell us this cute little story about the
Sure. Well, actually, it was my first helmet fitting experience, and Jacqueline was actually a great kind of leader in that, because I was really nervous. You make it sound pretty easy, but
It is easy.
Well, this little girl, she had a helmet that was, it had seen much better days, and it was time to let it go and get a big girl helmet and something that was a lot safer. But the problem was she's really attached to that old helmet, and so parting with it was a little bit difficult, but we had to explain that it went to helmet heaven, and she was getting a big girl helmet, and I don't know how it was later when they went home, but
Yeah,
she's
just
safe
crying.
now.
That's really cute, and that is an issue with the kids, that they love their little helmets, and we as an adults are thinking safety, and it's got to go. So let's walk through some of our bicycle safety fairs and kind of give a visual of what goes on. And Jacqueline, you're kind of probably our expert here of the three of us. So a lot of times there's the police are involved, and a bike shop or somebody helping fix kids' bikes or whoever's bikes.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they have to watch a video before they can come in and get their helmet fitted.
That's right. Yeah. So it's we start, you know, a couple hours or an hour before the public arrives, and the Beaverton Police Department, or in one case the Hillsborough Police Department, was setting up the rodeo outside, and the cones and everything, and then some of the bicycle repair shops are setting up shop to prepare for the crowd to come in and get their bikes fixed. And then we have to set up the tables to put all the helmets on there, making sure we do it all by size. We have the little kids sizes, the toddler, then you have the small, medium, large, extra large, and the different colors. Have that all set up, and then we need to make sure that we have the table set up for the helmet sizing. And I have not really been involved with that very much. I just do basically just the helmet fitting. So after the helmet sizing, then we have usually a table with ID, with ID as well. That gets pasted inside the helmet with the child's or the adult's name and contact information. And then we also have usually a separate room where there is a TV set up, where we have the movies or the movie shown about the bicycle safety. So when everyone arrives, then they basically start from one end and work their way through to the other end.
Yeah. And it can be a lot of kids coming through.
Yes.
And I really like the idea that the kids have to watch the video. It kind of is a responsibility for them to learn something and hopefully come away with some knowledge, and then they get the free helmet. So there's something involved, and not to mention the bike rodeo that I know, like there's the stop signs and all that, and the police are helping them understand traffic safety. So it's all beneficial, and of course making the bike safe if there's repairs that need to be made. A lot of parents don't know how, or don't have the means to wrench on a bike and get things tuned up. So that's really
we're
great.
planting a seed.
Yes.
And the seed grows, and those children are going to share that information with other children, and maybe with their children. So safety is important.
It is. And just riding a bicycle is something that a person can carry through their whole life.
Right.
Or at least virtually their whole life, usually. Yeah. And we'll maybe talk a little bit more about that. So what you talk about, the safety benefits coming out of these fairs that a person can carry through their life. Any other benefits that you see coming out of the bike fairs?
I think we're also promoting children and adults to be more active, physically active, and just go out there and enjoy the outdoors and be adventurous and, you know, go break a sweat.
Yeah, and that it's a fun activity, can be a family activity,
Yes.
and that helmets aren't dorky, they're really important.
Yes, absolutely. My daughter, when she was probably about 7 or 8 years, she that was in the beginning when I was just working for the Bicycle Safety Council. She, you know, was riding her bike and was wearing a helmet that didn't really fit her right. And she dodged out of the way of a car and just fell head over the handlebar, hit the pavement, broke 2 of her front teeth.
Oh no.
Her nose all scraped up, chest all scraped up, and so yeah. So I know firsthand how important it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and you talked about the IDs going into the helmets, and certainly we don't want anything bad to happen.
No.
But the fact is, adults or children sometimes are hit, and sometimes they're not conscious. And so who should the EMTs or the police call and get a hold of somebody who is this person, whether an adult or a child? So to have some sort of ID, whoever you are, and it can be stuck in your helmet or just something that you carry that tells them who to contact if there's a problem. So that's certainly a safety issue too. You don't want to be an anonymous person for hours on end in the ER.
Yes.
Well, I have to say I'm really impressed with the amount of helmets that have been given out by the Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. It's approaching 10,000. It's 10,000 people with new helmets that didn't have them before. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it is, and it really, I think it probably has helped people that we will never know about. Some crash, some bump on their head that who knows what might have happened to them without a helmet that got placed, and just helping them learn that that's a part of cycling, to wear a helmet on their head. And it's nice to be a part of that. Well, we've got a safety video that is one of the videos that we have the kids watch when they're at the bike fairs and before they get a helmet fitted on their head. And we'd like to share it with you so you can see too what the kids watch and how they learn about bicycle safety at bike fairs that Northwest Bicycle Safety Council puts on at a lot of the various schools and organizations here in our community.
Bicycling is one of America's favorite pastimes, yet like everything else, it has its risks. Every year, more children ages 5 to 13 go to hospital emergency rooms for injuries associated with bicycles than with any other sport. Many of these cases involve injuries to the head. Wearing a bicycle helmet can reduce the risk of head injury by an impressive 85%. So go ahead, enjoy the outdoors, but be sure to wear a properly fitted helmet. And remember to adjust it before every ride, or you won't be fully protected. If you will be buying new helmets, be sure from the label that they are CPSC certified. If you're using an older helmet, make sure it is Snell or ANSI approved. And there are even some dual certified helmets that can be used for bicycling and skateboarding. And whether there is a bicycle helmet law in your area or not, it's a smart idea for everyone to wear a helmet. And adults, it sets a good example for the kids. Once you have measured your head and chosen a helmet, adjust the sizing pads or the fitting ring for a comfortable fit without any rocking from side to side. The helmet should sit level on your head and low on the forehead, no more than 1 or 2 finger widths above the eyebrow. Adjust the lengths of the straps so the buckle is centered under the chin. Adjust the slider on both straps to form a V shape under and slightly in front of the ears. Lock the slider if possible. Buckle the chin strap and tighten it until snug. No more than 1 or 2 fingers should fit under the strap. At this point, double check to make sure that the helmet is secure and doesn't rock back and forth. If a big yawn doesn't pull down on your head, refer back to step 5 and tighten the chin strap. And if you just can't get the helmet to fit, try another one. Remember, a helmet can only protect your head if you wear it each time you ride. If you outgrow your helmet or are in a crash, replace it immediately or you won't be protected. With your new helmet properly fitted, you can ride with the confidence that you are getting the best protection possible.
So there you have it, one of our videos that we show at our bicycle fairs to help kids understand how a helmet should fit, and then they come into the gymnasium or whatever it is at the school, and someone like Jacqueline or Allison helps fit that helmet on their head just as they saw in the video. And you can take that information too at home and make sure that your helmet fits properly as well. And just like seat belts or something, then kids learn how this should all work. And I'm sure you've been nagged by a child, the seat belt isn't working right, this booster seat isn't working right, and you have to fix it and make it right for that child. Once they know the rules, boy, you have to adhere to them. So we're back with Jacqueline Sinke and Allison George, and we're board members of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, and we're celebrating the end of a successful 2013, and we're reminiscing about some of our activities this year. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is really a statewide organization, and we've served certainly in Multnomah County, Clackamas, Lincoln, Marion, Lane, and Washington counties, just to name a few places. We will go wherever there is a need and try to help with bicycle safety. And we serve schools and community groups, cities, government, and civic organizations. Many of our bike fairs are at elementary schools and in and around Washington County, but we want adults to ride safely too, and with helmets. And Jacqueline helps seniors to ride quite often. You do different camps and things in the summer sometimes. Why don't you tell us about that process?
Okay. Well, I work with a lot of older adults as well in exercise and health and fitness, so it's something I love to talk about, and I love to encourage older adults to be active and just to try something different and go out there and go and do it. So we started several years ago with the seniors on bikes, cycling, the senior cycling the project, that where we went to a community center together with Bruce Buffington, and Tony Montez was with us as well, and we each have a different section about what's important for older adults to start cycling, either a beginner or moderately advanced. So we each have our different section, and I took care of the section for what type of fitness level you need, the type of stretching would be beneficial when riding. Also riding with a medical condition. Many older adults do have medical conditions. Younger adults too, of course, but specifically older adults, there's a lot more diabetes these days. So riding with a medical condition, preparing for a ride, and preparing for the type of activity you're going to do, and finding out how your body responds to that activity, and being prepared for maybe having lower levels of sugar, blood sugar, that you need to bring more snacks with you, and to let someone else know that you do have diabetes. So just to protect yourself. But it could be just you know, it could be a hip replacement, just recommending if you have had a hip replacement, get a bike fit done to make sure that it doesn't, you know, aggravate the hip joint. So there's different things to look at and think about. If there's heart disease, monitoring your exercise intensity, cooling down, warming up, or warming up and then cool down, of course, are very important.
So a little bit different from children, but yet it all kind of isn't all that difficult, just something to think about.
Right, and we all become old.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
So I wanted to mention too that we fit helmets for anyone in need of helmets, and so that situation, seniors might need helmets too, and so we try to provide helmets for free, and we'll fit helmets on heads at our headquarters by appointment if that's needed. So the Beaverton Police and many outlying police departments partner with us at bike fairs, and we value those partnerships and their participation as we strive to teach safety and sharing the roads. Our office is at the Beaverton Pal Club facility, thanks to the generosity of the Beaverton Police Department. And so that's a place, if you contact us, you might be able to meet up with us and arrange for a helmet if you need one and can't make it to one of our bike fairs. Now, the mission statement of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is to educate and promote safety and harmony between cyclists and others who share the road, as well as strengthen community and family ties through cycling-related programs and events. So we've kind of talked about that and how those bike fairs help teach how to share the road and how this can be a family-involved situation and families do come to our bike fairs and they're all excited for the kids to get their bike fixed and get helmets on their heads. And I think I wanted to tell a story that I think Bruce has told about, and I don't remember all the details, but he was at one of the schools and some kids came up and they had helmets, but they were only helmets, just the styrofoam part of it. They weren't true helmets. And he was able to get helmets, you know, because of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, got those kids real helmets. And to me, that's very gratifying to know that there are some kids that were trying to be safe, but because of their own limitations that weren't their fault, they weren't quite there yet, and Bruce was able to help them through Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, and he is always on the lookout for opportunities like that. So it's a great part of our organization. And Allison, you're a fairly new board member and a newer cyclist, and you know, what appealed to you about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council?
Well, as a new rider, safety is extremely important to me because, you know, I rode as a kid and I had a bike that was 2 speeds, stop and go. And, you know, I remember my bell bottoms would get caught in the chain, and that's as far as I went with cycling. And now it's you know, things are busier, there's more traffic, and so just finding a way to safely navigate, that's very important to me, and so it was helpful just for me as a rider to start learning again about some of those rules.
And I think we too, just learning different routes, safer routes, instead of just being out on the highway or whatever. What challenges did you face getting into riding? I kind of got the impression that you kind of got interested when you were working with Bruce on this the Scenic Bikeway, and I saw you coming into the fold about that time.
Is there coffee involved?
Yeah, there's always coffee involved. And so, and you just bought a new bike, you know, so you could be a rider, and it seemed to be pretty serious about the whole thing. So tell us about your riding this past year and what goals you might have for the coming year.
Sure. Well, in working on the Scenic Bikeway, the Tualatin Valley Scenic Bikeway with Bruce, it just became so important to actually physically get on a bike and experience the route for myself, because we got a lot of public input, and so I wanted to get the perspective on a bike, which is entirely different than in a car. So once I started to commit to riding the route, just to familiarize myself with it, I had fun. It was really fun, and so riding just got more and more natural and something that I looked forward to doing. And so that's when I really kind of got hooked. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to be putting a lot of time in cycling, I want a bike that I can walk after I'm done riding. So, and it makes a difference. The equipment comes so far for road cycling, and so it's fun to and I still don't even know what my bike can do. I don't know the lingo. And
yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but it's been super fun, and I'm inspired by the more mature adult riders that are in their 70s, and it's a social activity, and they're great riders. I was a little nervous at first because you think, oh, I'm a beginner and I'm slow, who wants to ride with me? But the cycling community's been great, and so I've always felt like there's some great guidance and mentorship in that regard.
My husband used to surf, and surfers protect their waves. They won't tell the other surfers where the good waves are. And I thought, how nice that we're in a sport where, yeah, you kind of want to mentor each other. And yeah, this is a good route. Yeah, have you tried the banks for Nonya Trail yet? That kind of thing. We really share the fun places to ride and how to get there and where to eat and all that stuff. And I think that's really great. Also, Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is fortunate enough to have this public access television show, and we like to use it. We hope that it's a tool for the viewers to gain more experience listening to other riders and how they maybe got more fit, or the kind of riding they do. Maybe you learn about a different kind of riding that you were not familiar with, mountain biking or cyclocross or randonneering. So as host, I get the privilege of talking to all these people and really meeting some really nice people that are passionate about whatever it is they're doing, and learning a lot from them as we talk to them. And I hope you're learning along with me. We want to share another video now, an adult kind of version of safety video. And again, this is Northwest Bicycle Safety Council trying to promote bicycle safety, sharing the road, riding legally, and riding safely. So let's go to our video, and we'll be back.
Every day, more and more people are discovering the benefits of bicycling. It's healthy, relaxing, and fun. It's great exercise and something everyone can enjoy. Millions of Americans are saving money, reducing pollution, and easing congestion every day by simply riding to work, to the store, or to visit friends and family. Whether you are riding for the first time since childhood or you ride often, following a few simple pointers can make your ride safe and enjoyable. Hi, I'm Celine Yeager. You know that old saying, you never forget how to ride a bike? Well, it turns out that's only partly true. Sure, you can get on your bike and pedal, but do you really know how to drive your bike in today's traffic? Yes, I said drive your bicycle. You see, riding a bicycle is very similar to driving a car. The same rules of the road apply to both. In many states, bicycles are considered vehicles, so bicyclists have the same responsibilities and rights as motorists. Here are some tips for safe riding. First, let's make sure you have a bike that fits you properly. Bikes these days come in a wide variety of styles and prices. Talk with the staff of your local bike shop about the kind of riding you'll do and choose the right bike for you. Hybrid and comfort bikes are great for everyday riding around town. Sport, touring, and racing bikes are better for longer rides. If you are riding off-road, head for the mountain bike section of the store for bikes with fatter tires and gearing better suited to unpaved trails.
Getting a bike that fits makes it easier and safer to handle and much more enjoyable to ride. Make sure there's an inch or two between you and the top tube on a road bike. And on a mountain bike, you want the clearance to be more like 5 inches to make it easier and safer to get off the bike on rough terrain. Adjust your seat height so there's a slight bend in your knee when your foot is on the pedal in the downmost position.
There are 3 pieces of equipment that you will need to stay safe. First, a bicycle helmet. You need to wear a bicycle helmet regardless of your skill level or reasons for riding. It is the single most important piece of safety equipment you can use. It significantly reduces your chance of head injury if you crash. Be safe and be a role model for other bicyclists. Wear a properly fitted helmet each time you ride. A properly fitted helmet should be comfortably snug. It shouldn't shake, and it should sit on your forehead about 2 fingers width between the brim and your brows. Your helmet should sit level on your head, and then make sure that the sliders meet in a V under your earlobes. Chin straps should be snug under your chin, with room to breathe, of course. Second, if you are riding at night or in low light conditions, you need lights and reflectors. Every state requires bicyclists to have a white front light and a red light or reflector on the back of their bike. Third, you want to be seen and recognized by motorists at any time of day or night, so wear bright clothing with reflective tape or markings.
And now one more thing before you set off. You don't want your bike to fail you. So get in the habit of doing the ABC Quick Check before you ride.
A is for air. Check that your tires are properly inflated. They should be pumped up to the inflation rating printed on the tire. Many bicycle pumps come with a pressure gauge, so you can make sure they're properly inflated. Low pressure tires can easily puncture. B is for brakes. Check that your brakes are working. Your brake lever shouldn't come closer than a thumb's width to the handlebar. Your wheels should spin freely when the brakes are off. C is for the cranks, chain, and cassette. Grab both crank arms like this and wiggle them to make sure they aren't loose. Spin the pedals and make sure the chain runs smoothly through the gears. Quick means making sure your wheels are on tight if you have quick release wheels. The wheels should be snug in the dropouts and the quick release lever fastened tight. Finally, check to make sure nothing else is loose on your bike. If there's anything you can't fix, take your bike to your local bike shop and get a professional to help you.
Now we're ready to ride. Remember, bicyclists have the same responsibilities and rights as motor vehicle operators, so we follow the same rules of the road. Here are some important rules to remember.
Ride in the same direction as traffic. Bicyclists riding the wrong way can cause a crash for 2 reasons. Turning motorists, in particular, are not looking for you there, and you can't see and follow the traffic signs or signals if you're heading the wrong way. Obey all traffic signs, signals, and road markings. This means stopping at stop signs and red lights, and yielding to crossing pedestrians. It also means riding in turn lanes when you turn and straight lanes if you're going straight. Ride defensively. Look before riding out of driveways. Always look for turning vehicles and pedestrians in your path. Look behind you before changing lanes.
Know the law. Laws differ in each state or jurisdiction. In some areas, it's illegal to ride your bicycle on the sidewalk. If you must ride on the sidewalk, look for turning or crossing vehicles at driveways and intersections. Every community has different rules and regulations for driving a bicycle. Know those that apply to you, obey them, and set a good example for others.
Avoid road hazards. Carefully ride around drain grates, gravel, glass, and debris. Be predictable. Help motorists know exactly what you plan to do. Signal, make eye contact if you can, and ride without swerving. Signaling and checking behind you while riding straight takes practice, so working on these skills in a vacant lot is a smart idea. Stay to the right and pass on the left. This applies to the road and riding on a shared use path or trail. On a path, give an audible signal and always yield to pedestrians and people on horseback.
That's on your left.
When trails cross roadways, use caution and obey any traffic signs and signals.
Bicycling is fun, but it requires all your concentration. It requires using a helmet, lights, and bright colored clothing, and a bicycle in good repair that's properly fit to you. It requires you follow the traffic principles and be prepared to avoid hazards.
This film was produced by the League of American Bicyclists with support of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. I'm Celine Yeager. Ride safe.
And there's some more good safety information for bicyclists. and I hope that you got something out of that and it'll make you a safer rider. I like that idea of being predictable, and certainly we've seen kids riding. I think that's a good concept for kids to learn, that they just ride all over the place and zig and zag and in and out, and that being predictable is so important for sharing the road with car drivers. So we're back now with Jacqueline Sinke and Allison George, and we're talking about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council and kind of just tooting our own horn here, because we've had a good year in 2013. We're active in the community and we visit with so many other people. We kind of wanted to call attention to ourselves and remind our viewers that we too are active in the community, promoting bicycle safety and putting helmets on kids' heads. As Allison mentioned earlier in the show, we're at about 10,000 helmets. We've fitted approximately 10,000 helmets year to date for our history. And in fact, we're going to give a surprise helmet award at the Portland Wheelman Touring Club banquet in January. And Bruce, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to be there, but Allison is going to be the presenter of that award. And the recipient is a surprise. And so it's just something we're having a lot of fun with, and giving some credit where credit is due. So we're looking forward to that. Also, in the past years, Northwest Bicycle Safety Council has supported Bike for Humanity Portland for the past 3 years, and that includes the Impact Northwest Shine programs. So Bruce is very involved with them, and we have many partners, and we're involved with many different organizations, and certainly many organizations are reaching out to us, realizing what benefits we have to offer. So I want to talk about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council's big event ride that we've been doing the past several years. It's called Beaverton Banks and Beyond Bicycle Tour. And it's a big, what I call an event ride. An event ride to me is a ride that you have to pay for because you're well supported. There's SAG vehicles, there's food, there's just a lot of things going on. It's not just like a free club ride where you're just kind of doing your own thing. So you pay money. Oh, and there's porta potties. That's kind of a big factor. That's one thing you pay for. Yes, that's worth a little money. So an organization such as Northwest Bicycle Safety Council needs money. We have to buy those helmets. We get them at a very inexpensive cost, but they cost money, and we buy a lot of them. So where's that money going to come from? One way is by putting on a big bicycle ride, asking people to pay for it. And of course we have to spend money for food and porta potties and things, but any profits come back to Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. Most of it goes to buying helmets. We're all volunteers. Bruce, our president, does not get paid. None of us get paid. It's all volunteer. So there's no big, CEOs and, big money going there. It's all going back out into the community. So Beaverton Banks and Beyond is our big event ride. And we all, I think, were there this last year working in some features. So Allison, this was really, I think, probably a big initiation to you into this kind of thing. And so you were out in Banks. Tell us a little bit about some of your experiences.
Yeah, it was fun. I was at the Banks rest stop at the historic log cabin, and it was really fun to see the riders come through and have snacks and talk, and a lot of them hadn't seen the historic log cabin before either. So I was helping take pictures of riders in front of the cabin, a memento, and I met a lot of great people who were having a really good time. And one particular rider that I met, he was really having a great time, and his wife was actually supporting him, support and gear. And when he took off on his bike to the next segment, she came over and she said that, he had gained a serious amount of weight in his last few years, and that it really started negatively impacting his health. And that he turned to cycling and was having such a good time, and that he'd lost 40 to 50 pounds. And it completely changed his life. And it was something they were doing together. Even though she wasn't riding a bike, she had fun supporting and making sure that he, knew where he was going. And you know, she had tears in her eyes. I mean, it's changed this man's life and their family, and he's healthy and having a good time. And that was just really inspiring.
That is inspiring.
Yeah.
Jacqueline?
Yeah, absolutely. Quality of life gets so much better when you feel better, and your significant other feels a lot better too when you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that certainly is a family-changing thing. And we really appreciated you working out there in Banks and our little communities that we take our ride through, North Plains and Banks and Vernonia. They are great communities, and the people there really support us, and they want cyclists to come. And so I encourage you. I think several years ago when I'd say, "Oh, have you been on the Banks Vernonia Trail?" people would say, "What? Where?" And now I would, "Oh yeah, I've been there," and it's really gaining in popularity, and certainly putting the scenic bikeway there, which we'll talk about soon. You know, that too is going to help people use that trail. And Jacqueline, what did you do at Beaverton Banks and beyond?
I helped set up the different aid stations, so we were delivering the food to the different aid stations. So, yeah.
Did you use our new van?
Yes, we did, and it worked just fabulous. Everything fit right in there. Yeah,
Great.
yeah, it
Great.
was fantastic. Such a addition.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think that then we didn't have to rent a van, so that saved us some money.
Yeah, yeah. Myself and Lori, Bruce's wife.
Yes.
We were running to the different aid stations, setting it up, and delivering all the food. And at the end of the day, also picking up food or picking up the tables and cleaning up some of the supplies that we needed.
It's a lot of work.
It was a long day.
Yeah.
You know, you get up about, I don't know,
Yeah,
I don't even remember what
I don't
time
wanna
it
think about
was,
it.
and then you get
Early.
home about 4 in the afternoon. And I think it was a 12-hour day
I
that I
believe
had
it.
to work, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was well worth it.
It was. You
It
see
was
a lot
fantastic,
of happy
yeah.
cyclists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said positive things too. They loved the snacks, which were hard to stay out of
Yeah,
for me as
that's
a
the bad
volunteer.
thing.
But they were really impressed with the amount of attention that was paid to the details of the ride.
Yeah.
So critical.
And again, you have to give credit to Bruce. He really gives a lot of thought to what kinds of foods. Cyclists like certain things. You might like something a little sweet or a little salty. You need some protein.
Right.
He really gives that a lot of thought
Absolutely.
so that there's
Yeah.
a good spread there. And just sometimes it's just something crazy like red licorice or something. You just,
No, the black licorice.
or the black
Very
licorice.
popular.
Okay, the black was? Yeah, interesting. Well, my husband and I, Jim and I, ran SAG, and SAG stands for Support and Gear. And we've done this the last several years, and we just drive our car up and down the route, and there was other people doing the same thing, and just doubling back and making sure everybody was okay. And you know, we have a floor pump, so if somebody has a flat, we can help them get on the road, or if somebody has a serious mechanical, you can load them in your car and haul them to wherever they need to go. A lot of our rest stops had bike mechanics, so sometimes it's just a matter of getting them to a bike mechanic. Sometimes you have to take them back to the start. I think we really weren't very busy this year. There wasn't much going on where we were. I ran into a friend in North Plains who had raced out the door to get to the event, was doing more miles than she'd ever done before. And she's another one of those inspiring people who had gained some weight and was taking spin classes and doing triathlons. And, you know, this was one of her first long bike rides. So to me, she's a big inspiration, how hard she works. And she had raced out without gloves and cash. And so since I knew her, I gave her a pair of my gloves because I had some in the car and a little bit of cash. She said, "You probably won't need cash because there's food and everything you need on this ride, but it's always nice to have a little just in case." So anyway, she paid me back and gave me my gloves back, but that was kind of cute. But it's just a lot of fun to see people just having a great time. It's a great ride, and people are just thrilled to do it, and a lot of it is that Tualatin Valley Scenic Bikeway. So, you know, that just tells you how popular that is.
Right. If a route can actually be designated by Oregon Parks and Recreation Department as scenic, you know it's going to be scenic.
Yeah.
So that's what's really nice about that.
Right. And we'll be doing Beaverton Banks and beyond in 2014. We won't bug you about it just yet, but we'll get going and we'll be planning and getting ready. So I want to talk about the fact that Bruce got our Beaverton Banks and Beyond route and submitted it to the state, and you know more about exactly how that all transpired, to have that ultimately kind of tweaked a bit but turned into Tualatin Valley Scenic Bikeway. And I think it's Oregon's 10th such route.
That's correct, yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that whole process.
Sure. Well, what's great about the Scenic Bikeway program is it's the only one of its kind in the nation. So Oregon Parks and Recreation Department is really pretty cutting edge in that this is, you know, of course there's plenty of beautiful routes, but they don't have signage to help cyclists navigate an actual route. And they, you know, as far as the marketing and promotion that follows a scenic bikeway, that's also an important element of bringing cycling tourism into a region. So Bruce really had the route pretty nailed down, and we submitted that with the help of many volunteers who, from all types of different organizations. Washington County Engineering was at the table. Lots of great people who really wanted to help make this project come to fruition. So we submitted it, and then the team from Oregon Parks and Recreation Department comes out and rides it and evaluates it to see if it meets their criteria. And so it was a couple of years process, but in September we finally designated the route and unveiled the signs and had a ride, and it was great to see that.
Yeah, and we're really proud of Bruce for starting that whole process.
Absolutely. For
really appreciating the route that he had, that it really had something going for it. And how fortunate we are to have the Banks Vernonia Trail to incorporate into a route like that, and it's more than that trail. Tell us some of the little, it starts in Hillsborough?
That's right,
okay.
Yeah, at Rude Ridge Park, and then it kind of jogs over west and goes by Fern Hill Wetlands and some golf courses, and then it goes up through up north through Forest Grove, and then to Banks, where it connects with the Banks Vernonia State Trail. And what's really nice about this route is if you are a beginning cyclist, you can hit the Banks Vernonia State Trail because it's paved, there's no vehicles, and it's so beautiful. So you don't really have to worry about traffic if you're not comfortable with that. And if you are an intermediate or advanced rider, you could do the whole thing, and mileage would be a little bit more difficult if you want to add a level onto it.
And you've incorporated the communities so that, well, on our ride we have rest stops and you can get food, but there's lots of stores, restaurants, coffee shops, just all kinds of things that you'll be fine. You can get more water, more Gatorade, more whatever it is you might need. So that's a real advantage too. I think some of the scenic bikeways are way out, like the Eastern Oregon one. You better bring everything you need because there's nothing out there. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, that Banks Vernonia is great for the very beginning because you just go as far as you need to go, and if you're tired or a beginner and this is enough for me, you just turn around and head back. And again, these communities want you, and I think Washington County, is appreciating cyclists want to come out and they want to fly across the country and come out and ride and see what we've got to offer. So hey, let's do something and give them something.
Yeah, and we've at the WCVA we've had calls from people who have seen articles about the Tualatin Valley Scenic Bikeway, and they order a bike map and start putting in the research, and that's when it's really working, and that it's a great tourism draw, and it's experiential. When you're visiting a place on a bike, it's slower, you get to meet more of those local businesses, and you're usually with friends and people that you've traveled with to explore an area by bike, and it's really fun.
It really is, and we live here, and we have all these things right here in our backyard. We don't have to fly across the country. We can just go and enjoy these things. So we're really fortunate to live in this area, to have our community developing and putting up the signs and all that. And I've ridden these scenic bikeways, and the signage, it does guide you. I mean, certainly there's things on the internet that you can print off, and you can have a map and a cue sheet and hints of where you might want to stop and that sort of thing, and pointing out what you need to look for and see. But you can just pretty much follow those signs, and you're good if you're looking up and watching for them. So,
Yeah, right.
That's the trick.
so we are really fortunate to live in such an area where our government agencies are seeing the benefits of cycling for so many reasons and implementing these ideas, and people like Bruce Buffington that have a concept and submit it to the agencies that he needs to and gets this going, and all these things make our community so much better, and we like to think that Northwest Bicycle Safety Council is a part of that. I want to point out before we close here, Allison and I are wearing our psychology t-shirts that we wear at our different events when we're volunteering, so that you know who we are and that we're part of the organization. And on the back it's got Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. So, you know, this is our TV show, and in the back is Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. So we kind of wear these with pride, and we thank Bruce for getting those for us. So thank you, Allison, and thank you, Jacqueline, for joining me, board members of Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. Thanks again for joining us. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council promotes safe riding, both by obeying the laws and by riding with a level of skill. Thanks to our guests, Allison George and Jacqueline Sinke. They help make Northwest Bicycle Safety Council the strong organization it is, benefiting our community by promoting safe cycling. I hope you have a better understanding of how we at Northwest Bicycle Safety Council are also hard at work to promote safety on the roads and keep brains safe in helmets. Bruce and I ride year-round and are ready to offer encouragement and support. Come and join us. Check out pwtc.com and the ride calendar and look for our names, Bruce Buffington and Ann Morrow, as ride leaders. Bruce Buffington and I both lead slow and easy rides and some more challenging rides. And riding with others can help you develop the skills and confidence and show you where the safer streets are to ride. Check out our website for more information about Northwest Bicycle Safety Council. Thank you.